Sports Talk. Here's your host, Alan Michael.
It's time to play ball.
Step into the sports hyperbolic chamber that is Sports Talk. What's up? I'm Alan Michael. Ready to talk a little sports with you. It's July the 15th, 2015. The MLB All-Star Game was last night. It was a pretty incredible night for one Mike Trout. I'm ready to talk about that. Follow me at Alan Maggle, AlanMaggle. That's where the live stream goes out. Of course, you could go on the YouTube page, Sports Talk on YouTube. Subscribe, listen to all the episodes there on demand as well. I woke up today not really knowing what to do with myself until Wrestling Night in America began. Wednesday night, of course, is the best new night ever. 10 hours or so of pro wrestling action all over your TVs. Ring of Honor, Total Nonstop Action, TNA Impact, Lucha Underground, NXT. It's a wrestling nerd's paradise Wednesday nights now. Plus, I've also dove headfirst into USA Network's Mr. Robot, or Robot. That show's eerie. Too eerie. Too real. Too much Christian Slater. Never enough Christian Slater. But sports-wise, all I thought I'd get hyped for today was the wrestling later this evening. And besides the fallout from last night's MLB All-Star Game, I hadn't planned too much for this show other than to gloat about how I freaking called Mike Trout homering off of Zach Greinke to start the game. First inning. Not the first pitch, okay. But the first batter of the game facing a guy who hasn't given up a run in 30-some-odd innings. Trout takes him deep. Wins the MVP of the game. And how amazing was it? He is special. And not just like, oh wow, that guy's a lot of power special. He's a great five-tool guy. Oh, it's fun to watch him. No, he's like special, like legendary special. They had Willie Mays and Hank Aaron, among others, last night, and Pete Rose, of course. And they walked out onto the field, and these guys aren't guys. They're not men. They are legends. And they get the shot of all the current players paying homage to Willie Mays, Hank Aaron, Sandy Koufax, Johnny Bench. And then they show all the players there clapping. And I'm looking at Mike Trout. And more than anyone else on the field, the dude just has an aura around him. He has the mythical presence. He has like that glow that Babe Ruth has around him when he comes into Benny the Jet Rodriguez's bedroom in the Sandlot. It's just a glow around Mike Trout always. He's that kind of player. And when I saw him play in person for the first time a few years ago, it was like he wasn't even in front of me. It was like I couldn't comprehend what I was witnessing. He's not a man. He's a superior being. He's not human. He's capable of much, much more than any human. And last night, Mike Trout just proved he's baseball's crown jewel. He's what's causing all this in baseball. MLB would be wise to get their hype machine 110% behind Mike Trout, shove him down America's throat as much as possible. And then if you listen to any of the pundits on TV or radio today, or if you were on any of the social media gimmicks, you saw that Mike Trout was rightfully being called a living legend one day after securing his second All-Star Game MVP in a row. He's simply the man, but he's not a man. Remember that. So I was ready. I'm ready here. Sports Talk. I'm ready to go 20 to 30 minutes every single day talking sports with you. And I was ready to do it all on Mike Trout today. Because really, he was the only thing that I could really think about until I rolled out of bed this morning and I turned on my Twitter machine. And then all of a sudden, first thing in the morning, I find myself staring down an avalanche of hype, ready to come crashing down right onto my head. And the first headline I read was, "Today is Let's Make a Deal Day in the NFL," on Pro Football Talk. Today was the day franchise tag players who want their long-term money to sign their deals. 4 p.m. Eastern, the deadline to sign the paper, sign the dotted line, or face the giant question mark that is free agency after this coming season. And the names of the marquee: Des Bryant, Demaryius Thomas, and Justin Houston. 2 of the top 5 wide receivers, and arguably the best pass rusher in the game today. Will they or won't they was the question of the day. Will the deals get done? And I thought, after weeks and weeks of the Iran negotiations on all the other news networks, I thought I was all wiped out on negotiation watches, whether people would sign and agree to terms. But this, I got to admit, was much more exhilarating. All of a sudden, I was enthralled. I didn't expect it. Normally, I want to give 2 squirts of monkey piss about off-season NFL contract negotiations. I root for teams. I'm a rooter. I root for the Pittsburgh Steelers in the NFL. I root against everyone else. I hope all the good things happen to the Steelers. I hope all the bad things in the world happen to all the other teams, their players, their coaches, and their fans. And usually the offseason stuff I'm into is stuff like Aaron Cromer of the Bills, the offensive line coach there, beating up kids at the beach. JPP blowing his finger off. That's the exciting stuff I look forward to in the offseason. And of course, Big Ben's countless charitable works. I'm always interested in what sort of golf tournament Big Ben's putting on or being involved with, what hospitals he's going to. He's also more than a man. Another legend, Big Ben Roethlisberger. But those are the kind of stories I enjoy in the NFL offseason, not contract negotiations. Who cares? Who cares how much this guy's worth? Who cares about a team lowballing a guy? Who cares about... They're not on my team, so what do I care? But today was a different story. I caught myself actually seeking out information about contract negotiations in cities other than Pittsburgh. I caught myself turning on even the 4-letter network. I never watch ESPN unless I need to, unless a game's on there or something very important like the decision. But I caught myself watching ESPN and even thinking to myself, well, when's Schefter coming on? I don't see on the sidebar, when's Schefter coming on to tell me some Des Bryant news? I want to know. Why? What's wrong with me? Now, I was actively seeking out this information, and I felt so dirty. I felt like it was wrong. You've done wrong things in your life, and while you were doing them, you knew they were wrong. And you were thinking to yourself, why? Why am I doing this? What's wrong with me? Last night I ate delicious, flourless chocolate cake during the All-Star game, and I was thinking, well, maybe my girlfriend drugged me. Or maybe I'm just severely depressed. It's the middle of the summer. There's no big games on. There's no MLB games for 2 days. What do I do with myself? Wrestling's not for another 12 hours. What's going on? Who's doing this? Why am I seeking out this information on Des Bryant's damn contract? Who cares? And then, as us multitasking millennials tend to do, I took my eyeballs away from the television, and while I was watching that, I went onto my phone screen, and I went to my Instagram machine. And there I saw that The Rock had posted something. And The Rock's got a great Instagram. Always putting funny stuff up there. But then it hit me. Holy shit. The Rock is the reason I'm into all this. It's his fault. The Rock. He's the reason I care whether or not Dez signs the long-term deal with Dallas. The people's champ, The Rock. He has shown me the way. I'm not going crazy. I was not drugged. I am not depressed. I am actually enlightened. I have seen the light. Praise be to the Brahma Bull. Dwayne Johnson, and his smash hit HBO television series Ballers. That's the reason. Since its debut 4 weeks ago, I've been ensconced in the badder, brorier version of Entourage. And if you haven't seen Ballers, it depicts... Well, right now it's only focused on the NFL. I don't know if The Rock's character is going to go off into other sports, but essentially he's an ex-player who's an agent representing NFL players, and it's all about their lives and what's going on with the contracts and their entourages and the partying and the lifestyle. Spencer Strassmore, played by The Rock. He's a drug addict. He lost all of his money because of bad, stupid decisions that a lot of NFL players in real life make. And he's out to correct them and save the young lives and the young money of his friends that are still playing in the NFL, along with his trusty sidekick, Rob Corddry of Hot Tub Time Machine. That show is incredible. It is 30 minutes long, easy to digest. Now, it might be a little broy for some, might be a little too misogynistic for some, might be too much like Entourage, but with athletes and a little bit more of an quote-unquote urban vibe. But it's hilarious. There's a lot of nudity, too, if you're into that. A lot of dick jokes, a lot of racial jokes. It's a good 30 minutes of television. What can I say? And I'm a sucker for The Rock, obviously. If he ran for president, I'd vote for him. But as I'm watching ESPN cover the Dez negotiations like they were the Iran nuclear talks, I found myself thinking about all the stuff we get to see on that show, Ballers on HBO. And then I was thinking whether or not the $12 million that Dallas offered Dez could cover his expenses. What are his expenses? How many mouths is Dez Bryant feeding, I'm thinking? That is the interesting stuff. That's what Ballers is touching on. That's what ESPN wishes they could get into. They always have to allude to Dez Bryant has family issues. He has off-the-field issues. Like it's not everyday normal stuff that everybody's dealing with. Their family. I mean, you can't imagine. What if you grew up on the other side of the tracks, were thrust into a national spotlight, given millions and millions of dollars with all these people you knew growing up, telling you, shoving stuff into your head about loyalty and stuff. And then once you're famous, they're reaching out to you, just like on Ballers. That's what Dez Bryant is facing. How many hands are reaching out towards Dez Bryant, I'm thinking, on the daily? Ballers got me thinking about this stuff. Now, I'm still rooting for the Cowboys to be miserable and their fans to be miserable, but now I'm interested in, well, is he going to sign the contract? What's going on? This is playing out in my head. And then you got Demaryius Thomas' situation, which is maybe even more interesting. They're both comparable players. Dez Bryant, the best offensive weapon on the Dallas Cowboys, especially now that Murray's gone to the Eagles. And Demaryius Thomas, Peyton Manning's favorite target. Two of the best receivers not named Calvin Johnson, probably the top two, trying to get paid. And Dez Bryant has his situation. And Demaryius Thomas's. His mother has been in jail since he was 12. And she was just released from prison, pardoned by the president himself. She will be getting out of prison. He will be seeing his mother for the first time as a free woman since he was 12 years of age. And now he's a multi-million-dollar, nationally famous, maybe even world-famous man. And he just got paid today. And the deals went like this. They went $70 million over 5 years for both players, except that Dez Bryant's was a little bit more guaranteed with $45 million, and Demaryius Thomas getting $43.5 million guaranteed. But Demaryius Thomas's mother just got pardoned by the president himself. He just got paid. What the hell's going on in that guy's head, I'm thinking? Is he going to buy his mom a house? Everybody wants to buy their mom a house. But his mom's been in prison now his entire adult life and most of his childhood. Is he going to buy her a house? Man, what an emotional negotiation that must have been. It does rival the Iran nuclear talks, I think. And I thought it was covered in a much better fashion by ESPN than your Fox News's, MSNBC, CNN's all did the Iran talks. With their stock footage of John Kerry limping and walking with his injuries and scary people in the Middle East. Or they made them look scary. They're not actually scary. But that coverage was terrible. This coverage was exhilarating. Even though they couldn't specify the details of all the people reaching out to Des Bryant and Demaryius Thomas's mama getting out of jail. His grandma, I believe, was also exonerated by President Obama. So this was the story that I got swept up in today. Today's the ESPYs. I get inspired regularly just by the hard workers I see out on the New York City streets picking up trash and by the people in my life. I mean, I don't need the ESPYs to tell me what inspires me. But if you want to watch that, go ahead. I prefer an award show that's, you know, a little bit more lighthearted. I don't need to be forced to cry every year. They're trying so hard every year. And here they are. They got the red carpet right now as we're live streaming this gimmick. But the Des Bryant, Demaryius Thomas situation was phenomenal. Justin Houston was the man of the hour. He got the largest guaranteed contract for an edge rusher ever. I came up, half a sack short of tying Michael Strahan last year. If there was only a quarterback out there who would have laid down for him, he might have been able to break the record. But for the first time ever, I'm 28 years old. I got, before I knew it, my head was spinning, and I was involved in contract negotiations, sitting on the edge of my seat, waiting for Adam Schefter to tweet out, Des Bryant signs $70 million over 5 years. Demaryius Thomas signs $70 million over 5 years. Hopefully that never happens to me again. I don't know. I feel so dirty. But Ballers is an amazing show, and that's what it's... Ballers is what's causing all this. If you haven't seen Ballers, I gotta highly recommend it. It's a hell of a show. It's The Rock. I cannot believe they're still allowed to use the Dolphins logos, the Packers logos. They're blatantly depicting NFL players as they are. As if the real-life NFL players themselves and the coverage that they get isn't crazy enough. I feel like it's a tall task for Ballers to do what they're doing. I mean, if the real stuff's this good, you don't really need the fiction, but Ballers is pulling it off. Maybe it's because it's The Rock, and everybody on that show is slightly better looking than the people in real life that you get to see on ESPN. Plus, the nudity. Man, I hope that never happens to me again, though. Have you ever caught yourself interested in another team's player contract negotiations like that? I haven't felt this dirty since I went to Tijuana. All right, that's it. That's all I got for today. 20 minutes on contract negotiations for you, July the 15th. Now, this is the day all the people in Sports Talk Radio complain about. The day after the All-Star game, nothing on television. That's why the ESPYs are on. And they all bitch and they moan because there's nothing to talk about. There's nothing to move the needle. That's when the cream rises. And I think I rose for a good 20, 21 minutes here. But now Mr. Robot's coming on. It's Wrestling Night in America. And I got to get the hell out of here. All right, so the tweeter is @AlanMaggle, AlanMaggle. Follow me. I tweet out the live links so you can listen to the live stream if you want, which are at random times. I'm not going to do them at set times. It's for fun to talk sports. I'll do it whenever I want. But you can also go to the website, sportstalk.com. Go to the YouTube page, Sports Talk on YouTube. Subscribe, like it, whatever you got to do on the internet gimmicks. And I'll see you, I don't know, sometime tomorrow. This has been Sports Talk. Tomorrow's the biggest day in the history of sports, and we're going to talk about it.